In a land that's downtrodden, Braddock's comeback is giving hope to every American.
Busted again.
The thing is, I can't afford to.
In the late 1920s, Jim Braddock was an emerging star in the boxing world, a light heavyweight contender renowned for his devastating right hand and relentless grit. He lived a modest yet comfortable life in New Jersey with his wife May and their 3 children, Jay, Howard, and Rosemary. At that time, everything seemed to be falling into place for the Braddocks. With his career on the rise and his family by his side, Jim was on a path that many could only dream of. But when the stock market crashed in 1929, the Great Depression swept across America and the world. Jim's world began to crumble. His once thriving career started to falter, not just due to the economic downturn, but also because of injuries. A persistent hand injury weakened Jim's ability to box, and with every loss, the cheers of the crowd grew silent.
Saw that, huh? Last round, go get it!
Jim had no choice but to work as a longshoreman on the New Jersey docks, taking any regular job he could find to put food on the table. The work was grueling and poorly paid, and the Braddock family's financial situation quickly became desperate. They were forced to move into a cramped basement apartment where unpaid bills piled up, and there were days they barely had enough to eat. In 1934, when all seemed lost, fate offered a glimmer of hope. Joe Gould, Jim's former manager, returned to his life with an unexpected opportunity. A heavyweight fight had been scheduled, but one of the contenders dropped out at the last minute. Jim was offered the chance to step in as a replacement. It wasn't considered a comeback. No one expected him to win. But for Jim, it wasn't about glory, it was about survival. He knew this fight could provide much-needed money for his family, even if only for a short time. Jim entered the ring as a massive underdog. Out of practice, still battling the lingering pain of his old hand injury, he faced a younger, stronger opponent, Corn Griffin. But what Griffin underestimated was the fire that still burned within Jim. He wasn't fighting for fame or recognition, he was fighting for his family's survival. With every punch, Jim pushed through the pain, fighting not just with his body, but with his heart. To the shock of everyone watching, Jim Braddock knocked out Griffin in the 3rd round, delivering an upset no one saw coming.
Tonight's championship battle.
Jim, you're fine. Stay down. Stay down.
This victory was more than just a win. It was the spark that reignited Jim's career. The press, captivated by his story, dubbed him the Cinderella Man, likening his improbable comeback to the fairy tale of a downtrodden figure rising to greatness. For the American public, particularly those suffering through the Great Depression, Jim's return to the ring symbolized something far greater than a sporting event. However, even as Jim's career found new life, tensions at home grew. May, who had always worried about the physical toll boxing took on him, became increasingly fearful as he faced tougher, more dangerous opponents. The joy of seeing Jim succeed was tempered by the constant dread that one wrong hit could cost him his life. May's love for Jim and her desire to protect him created a profound emotional conflict. She knew that boxing was the only way they could pull themselves out of poverty. She wanted him to win, but she was terrified of the price that victory might demand. Through all the ups and downs, Jim remained focused on one thing: providing for his family. His victories in the ring allowed him to pay off debts, move his family out of the basement apartment, and restore stability to their lives. Though the Depression continued to cast a long shadow over the country, Jim's career became a beacon of hope for his family and for the countless others who saw their own struggles reflected in him.
And react. Looks to resume control. And
What are you doing? You beat this guy easy last time.
Yeah, the same guy.
You got it.
As Jim Braddock's remarkable comeback story unfolded, something extraordinary happened. The American public, battered by the Depression and weighed down by hardship, began to see in Braddock a glimmer of their own hopes. Each victory, each fight in the ring was more than a sports headline. It was a testament to rising above the seemingly impossible. Braddock's resilience became a guiding light in dark times, and the nickname Cinderella Man perfectly captured the spirit of his journey. People across the country found solace in his determination and in his unwavering ability to push forward, even when the odds were stacked against him. With every fight, Jim grew stronger, both in body and mind. His victories, once improbable, became the stuff of legend. And before long, the impossible happened. Shot at the heavyweight title. His opponent, Max Baer, the reigning champion, was notorious for his terrifying power. Baer wasn't just another fighter. He was a force of nature, feared throughout the sport for having killed 2 men in the ring. His knockout power was legendary, and few believed that Jim, seen by many as an aging underdog, stood a chance. The thought of Jim facing Baer was almost too much for his wife. She had stood by his side through the ups and downs of his career, through the heartbreak of losing their home, through days of hunger and nights of uncertainty. But this was different. May feared for Jim's life. She begged him not to take the fight, pleading with him to think of their children, to imagine what would happen if he didn't survive. The thought of losing him was unbearable. But Jim understood something deeper. This fight wasn't just about boxing. It was about securing their family's future, pulling them out of poverty for good. The media built up the Braddock-Baer fight as a classic David versus Goliath story. Confident in his abilities, Baer taunted Jim relentlessly during pre-fight promotions, mocking him as an old, washed-up fighter who didn't stand a chance. Baer's arrogance shone through, and he seemed to relish his reputation as a ruthless, dangerous boxer. Tension in the Braddock household was palpable. In the days leading up to the fight, May, still terrified, struggled to come to terms with Jim's decision. She couldn't bring herself to watch, knowing the danger was real, but she supported him in the only way she knew how, by being there for him no matter the outcome. When fight night finally arrived, Madison Square Garden was packed with spectators eager to witness the long-anticipated showdown. Thousands more listened on the radio, holding their breath. For many, Jim's battle against Baer was more than a match. It was a metaphor for the struggles they faced in their own lives during the Great Depression. Like Jim, they had been knocked down, but they wanted to believe there was a way to rise back up. From the opening bell, Baer's strength was evident. He landed a flurry of brutal punches, and the crowd held its breath, wondering if this was the end. Every time Jim got back up, his determination grew stronger. It became clear this wasn't just a physical battle, it was a battle of will. As the fight wore on, something unexpected happened. Baer, expecting an easy victory, began showing signs of frustration. Jim's refusal to give up threw him off his game. Baer's punches, still powerful,
doing it. Braddock will not go past the first round. Stay
began to lose some force as he tired. Sensing an opportunity, Jim started landing punches of his own. The crowd, once worried, rallied behind him, cheering every strike inspired by the sheer force of his will. Round after round, the two fighters battled, giving everything they had. Baer's power was undeniable, but Jim's heart and endurance kept him in the fight. In the final round, Braddock, exhausted and battered, faced off against Max Baer. Despite being the underdog, his sheer determination fueled him. He dodged Baer's powerful punches and fought back with everything he had. The crowd roared as Braddock landed several crucial blows, surprising both Baer and the spectators. With a relentless heart and unbreakable spirit, Braddock refused to go down. When the bell rang, he had outlasted the champion. The fight went to the judges, and in a moment of high drama, against all odds, the announcer declared Jim Braddock the winner by unanimous decision, completing his miraculous comeback and becoming the new heavyweight champion, a true embodiment of perseverance. His victory over Max Baer was more than just a win in the ring. It was a symbol of hope for an entire nation in the midst of the Great Depression. When everything seemed lost, Jim's story proved that resilience, hard work, and determination could overcome even the greatest challenges. Jim Braddock's story is a timeless reminder that no matter how hard life gets, no matter how many times you're knocked down, there is always a way back up. His journey wasn't just about boxing. It was about the power of hope, the strength of the human spirit, and the belief that with enough heart, anything is possible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring content.